What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Pitch Catch Pod. My name is Eli Weiss,
And I'm Joey Fernandez.
and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We are going to be talking about the players who won some awards, caused a little bit of controversy. We're going to be talking about some potential free agent signings, maybe in the near future. Who knows? And we're going to be talking about some of the players who signed this week. Pretty eventful week, I would say. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah,
early. I'm still happy with what happened.
yeah. Uh, the first thing that comes to mind with some of these votings is your Twitter arguments today, but we'll
We'll get
we'll
into
get into
that.
that.
I got some opinions going, but yeah, we can get started with some of the awards. Randy Arozarena won the Rookie of the Year. Not a shocker to either of us, I believe. And
No,
yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it, and good for him, even though it seems like he's been in the league for 10 years. I mean, great player. I mean, you can't really argue the award going to him.
yeah. He got most of the votes. I mean, it wasn't very surprising at all. He's, I mean, he played pretty well this year. It just felt like there wasn't really like a big splash rookie this year that played enough games.
Hmm.
Uh, there were some other guys that got first place votes but for the most part it was him. One of the more weird votes was Emmanuel Clase getting a first place vote, but
I do like the consideration, maybe for like third or fourth.
yeah,
First place is a little off, but that dude's a stud. So I can't. I
yeah,
mean, first place is a little bit of a stretch. I
yeah,
wonder if Wander Franco played like 20 more games, if he had a chance at winning, um,
yeah,
and obviously continued what he was doing. I would have loved to seen that, but Rosarena takes home that award. Shouldn't be a shocker to most people. And then on the National League side, again, shouldn't be much of a shocker. Jonathan India took home the award, and
yeah.
it was pretty convincingly, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I don't. I think Rogers got one vote. That's about it. Everyone else got India. I mean, at least no one screwed that one up for the most part. I
If
mean,
I'm not
we both.
mistaken, Schwindy City and Wisdom maybe got a few in there, third, fourth place votes.
Yes, sir. Schwindel got two third places, and then Wisdom got three or four actually. So,
Take it.
you
We'll
know,
take it.
some cubby recognition in there. Good for you guys, I guess.
30-year-old menaces out there. Kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
the
But
old geezers.
yeah, I mean, India wasn't really a surprise to us. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these weren't, to be honest. Moving on to Manager of the
Oh,
Year, Kevin Cash won. Um, I know there was a little argument for Scott Seaver, or Scott Service, or yeah,
yeah,
Scott's.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I you had that victory lap on me a little bit. It's cool.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
If you guys listened to the last podcast, I said that Kevin Cash would win. And I mean, it's not like you said he wouldn't win. It's just you were kind of rooting for Service, which isn't a
yeah.
bad take at all. Did
Mhm.
he end up getting second?
I believe so. He had quite a lot of first place votes also. He had what, five? So I mean, it's not like he wasn't in consideration at all, but he had most of the second places also. So I mean, it was close.
Mhm.
Cash definitely deserved it, but it would have been nice to see Scott get one, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
no, it would have been nice
you
for
know,
sure. I just think, with what Kevin Cash did, I mean, it's hard to beat him.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, definitely a good run. Uh, these pretty good candidates in my opinion for that award. And then moving on to the National League, Gabe Kapler took that home for the
yeah, that
Giants.
that one was definitely a layup. Uh,
Yeah.
pretty obvious choice in my opinion. Craig Counsell snuck in a first place vote,
Mhm.
but and Mike Schilt did also, but Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get through the rest of these, and some of these voters, like there's question, like there's no possible way a
uh,
human thought that Mike Schilt deserved it over everyone, but I don't know what
you
goes on
know,
behind the scenes. It's kind of mind-boggling sometimes, but
there's always got to be some random votes in there. Like no one can like always someone always has to be different in those. It's just like it never fails every year. There's always one guy, and you're like, are you sure?
yeah, I don't get it. But I don't know who they're giving the power to, but I guess it's how it's meant to be.
Yeah,
Moving on to a little bit of a debated topic today. Corbin Burns won the National League MVP. I mean, National League Cy Young
yeah,
over most people thought Wheeler. I'm guessing now. I mean, I thought Scherzer would command most of the second place votes. That's not
yeah.
what ended up happening.
This one was a little bit more contested. Yeah. It's it's tough. Looking at it, I do think Wheeler probably deserves second. Um, I I I don't know. I don't see the Wheeler for the first place argument, but I definitely see the second place argument. I think we probably downplayed Wheeler a little bit personally.
I would say so. I mean, he had a fantastic season, and I mean, a lot of the argument brought up was the innings pitched, and that's extremely important.
Yeah, it's
And
fair.
but like it just doesn't compare to the rest of the stats. I mean, it just takes a simple search. Uh, People are saying like the 40 innings, it was like 46 innings he had on Burns. They said
Uh,
that like it warrants him losing in like every category. I mean, he didn't lose by a ton. In some things he did, but I mean, just look at the stats. I mean, I don't know if I have to pull up the tweet I sent out, but I named like a ton of stuff
yeah.
that that he beat him in. He beat him in, just to name a few: ERA, xERA, FIP, xFIP, WAR, Ks per nine, walks per nine, home runs per nine, K percentage, walk percentage, WHIP, Sierra, and then a bunch of other things that I didn't
Mm,
really want to type out. Um,
yeah.
when it's that lopsided, I am perfectly fine with someone with 40 innings less getting it. I mean, I don't know. I don't see that argument for first place. Second place, absolutely. Looking back on it,
Mm,
but there's been a lot of debate outside of or inside the Twitter world or in the baseball world in general. Uh,
yeah.
no, Corbin Burns deserved it.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.
Yeah. And if you think about it, uh, with Corbin Burns and Zach Wheeler, they only had four less starts.
Hmm.
Corbin Burns did. So a lot of that thing is comes with philosophical reasons too, because Craig Counsell also loves to rely on his bullpen a lot more than Joe Girardi does, and obviously he had more of the option too because the Phillies bullpen was just a dumpster fire all year long. But if you think about it, Craig Counsell is a lot quicker to pull a guy in the fifth or sixth inning when he's. I mean, it's not like he struggled very much, but whenever he may be getting in some sort of trouble or may be a slightly tired or something like that, because the Brewers had such a commanding lead in their division for the most part, that he maybe felt more inclined to pull Corbin Burns a little earlier, and that might have slipped them maybe seven to 10 innings or 10 to 15 innings or something like that, and maybe even less of an argument. But it's just, I think I think the 40 innings didn't make as much of a difference as as people think, because even with that difference, Corbin Burns still had more FWAR.
Yeah.
So he still made more of an impact. I mean, I know WAR is not the end all be all, but
Mhm.
still a big thing, I think,
Oh yeah.
to take into consideration. But with Max Scherzer and Zach Wheeler, I I definitely see more of an argument for Wheeler than I did before, and I think it was a bit of an oversight on my part personally.
Yeah.
Especially looking at F4. I know that's like I said, it's not the end all be all, but he had two more F4 than Max
Hmm.
Scherzer did.
Yeah.
So
Really impressive.
yeah,
Um, Quick little side note, shout out Jeremy Frank at MLB Random Stats on Twitter. He said that Wheeler allowed 25 more runs in 46 more innings. So when you're looking at how much valuable were those innings, they weren't great innings. He said Corbin Burns would have to pitch 46 innings to match Wheeler, and you need to have a 4.1 ERA with only 13 strikeouts. I mean, it's it's tough because Wheeler had a fantastic season and it's really hard. It's the same thing with Shohei and Vlad. There obviously wasn't much of a debate there.
yeah,
But it's not really discrediting Wheeler in any fashion. It's just simply, unfortunately, someone just had a better season and it's extremely hard to do.
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I feel like not enough people gave Burns his credit. And even though he did win, I think Wheeler got 12 first place votes.
They tied in first place votes.
That just blew my mind. And I think what was the stat I saw? I think it was like everybody who voted from the Central, they voted Corbin Burns because like they play him, they know how he plays, and
Yeah,
most of the people who like never played him or like barely, they didn't vote for him. So it was kind
that's
of like people who saw him with their own eyes kind of voted for him thing.
that's an aggravating thing though.
Yeah.
So aggravating because I mean, if you have a vote, like you have to somewhat like you have to know what a guy's doing. I mean, you see it on social media like every day. Everyone was talking about how dominant Corbin Burns was all year. Like, there's just no way you can just take that some sort of bias because you see him, you watch his games more. Like I don't see how that makes any sense. And to to the voter who gave Corbin Burns a fourth place vote, what's going on?
It's not even something I want to laugh at anymore because like this is like in like these awards in terms of like evaluating a player maybe for like the Hall of Fame, in my
Mhm.
opinion, they're not as valuable as they should be. I mean, they're less valuable than they are, but like in the grand scheme of things, like these are things that a lot of people take into
Yeah, they
consideration.
matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So,
That's
like you can't snub someone like Corbin Burns a fourth
yeah,
place vote. Like,
yeah. That's that's what makes me mad about how they used to do that with the All-Star game.
mm,
They would put the vet in like how Derek Jeter was getting free All-Star games at the end of his career when he
yeah,
could have been snubbing someone else who clearly deserved it, and that could affect his Hall of Fame resume one day because voters take that into consideration with accolades and stuff like that, even though it's a popularity contest sometimes.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's kind of a
Mind-boggling stuff.
frustrating
But
thing.
yeah.
But
Good thing
yeah,
he did win though because he deserved it. I mean, it's just
yeah.
plain and
Just
simple.
Also, another thing is if Jacob DeGrom kept up the same pace, we could have been having this same talk with Corbin Burns having the unfortunate vote just in that year,
I
if he
yeah.
we
I
could have.
think it depends on. I mean, if we're assuming Jacob Degrom pitched the same way and or maybe a little worse, I think he could have won MVP and Cy
Oh
Young.
yeah, yeah. But I was just saying
Yeah,
Corbin Burns could have been the guy who was getting snubbed instead of Wheeler just
yeah.
because of
No, that's
the
just unfortunate.
circumstances.
I
Yeah,
mean, shout out
exactly.
to Wheeler. Had a fantastic year.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate. Someone just did better. As hard as that is to do, but
yeah.
moving on. In the AL, Robbie Ray won the Cy Young. That was kind
Mhm.
of our prediction in terms of what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah,
I I think Garrett Cole deserved it. Um,
yeah, not gonna lie, same.
it's not one of those things where like a lot of people don't like to rely on like the expected stats while picking an award, and I kind of agree with that. In terms of uh, you don't really want to base an award off something that was expected. You kind of want to see how
What
they.
actually happened? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, looking at the other stats, there's not a big case for Robbie Ray. I mean, the ERA looks very pretty, which you can't blame the voters. I mean,
Yeah,
I do
sure.
blame them for not keeping up with the times, but that he beats him in innings pitched and ERA. Robbie Ray, he beats Garrett Cole in that. Garrett Cole beats him in xERA, FIP, xFIP, Sierra, Ks per nine, walks per nine, home runs per nine, K percentage, walk percentage, K to walk ratio, and F WAR.
Yeah, exactly. That was gonna be my thing. In all the rate stats, Garrett Cole is better.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, like keep up, please. But at the same time, you can't be really mad at Robbie Ray winning because he was
Hmm.
also very dominant. He kind of just fumbled the bag a little bit in September.
Yeah.
But you could say the same thing for Garrett. So it's a little like I see it, but at the same time, Garrett probably deserved it, and I don't think it should have been lopsided, even if Robbie was going to win.
Hmm.
Like 29-1, I believe is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it should have been nearly that. I feel like that's a little disrespectful,
Yeah.
personally.
I think it's very disrespectful. And I mean, I'm a big fan of Robbie Ray. I do like him more than Garrett Cole, and
Uh-huh.
I'm very happy he gets recognition for having
Yeah,
a great year. It's unfortunate because he like I said before, if maybe they were toe to toe in some of these stats, like okay, yes, Robbie Ray beats him in ERA and innings, which are important in the voting aspect. If he just kept up in some other stats, but it's kind of like the Burns Wheeler situation where he's just dominated in everywhere else, and it's just at what point are we going to transition to a time where we, we don't have to rely just on advanced stats. It's just look at the whole picture.
yeah, exactly. You got to take them into consideration. They're not the end all be all the time, but I mean, you got to at least look at them and see the trend in a player and who like a lot of the time you can tell who is the actual better player, especially with the rate stats like the K percentage and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because innings aren't the end all be all anymore.
No.
It's about how good you are in the innings you pitch. Obviously, you need a certain amount, but I mean, after 160 plus, I don't think it matters nearly as much unless a guy's pitching 230 innings, but nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like the importance of it is diminished as we move towards a time where people are getting taken out in the fifth and sixth inning, even though they're
Exactly.
dominant. Like that's just hurting the person if you keep evaluating the innings like that because they can't control it.
Yeah.
There's been many times where I've seen Corbin Burns dominating, but he's taken out a little bit early, maybe because they're winning by a lot. They want to save him for the playoffs, etc. I mean, they needed Wheeler down the stretch, and I know we're talking about Ray and Cole, but like it depends on situation as well. If you need your guy to go 9 innings no matter what, you're going to keep him in a little bit longer than maybe a team that's sitting comfortably in the playoffs. And should that like negatively affect the, the other guy because he's getting taken out a couple innings earlier? I don't think so. But I mean, nonetheless, congrats to Robbie Ray. Very deserved in terms of like recognition. He had a fantastic season. Was one of the main seasons that the Blue Jays were even kind of in contention. But yeah, uh, Garrett Cole deserves that in my opinion.
Yeah. Um, I just wanted to give some credit to some of the other guys who finished a little lower. With Nathan Eovaldi having a very good season. Did he finish? Oh, he finished fourth, which is very solid actually. I can't say anyone really expected that at all.
No.
Along with a guy like Carlos Rodon, I think he could have easily been in contention if he pitched more than 24 starts, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I also find it a little funny that Raisel Iglesias got a fifth place vote. I just wanted to
Yeah.
bring that up.
Yeah. I mean, he was good, but
I mean, come on.
I'm not a fan of relievers getting Cy Young votes unless, like, a lot of people say, like, there's no chance they should ever win it. I think we had this conversation back in April or early May when Chapman was like lights out. And
Yeah.
I said, like, if Chapman goes the whole year without like giving up a run, then like that's when you consider him. But
Hmm.
I mean, if you're even if you're the best reliever in the league in terms of stats, unless it's like one of like the best relief season we've ever seen,
Hmm.
I wouldn't. I can't really understand any of those votes. I mean, I'm fine with like a fifth place maybe, but there's maybe another guy out there who deserved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure. Liam Hendricks getting three third place votes is a little weird, but I mean, he was the best reliever in the AL. Don't get me wrong, but third place votes are a little odd.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
very odd. I mean, would you say he deserved that over someone like Rodon,
No,
Lynn? Like, I don't think so.
no,
Not even
no,
close, in my
no chance.
opinion.
Like, yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, he was top two relievers in baseball, but I'm not. I'm not willing to say third place Cy Young.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on. Those were some of the awards that were announced. We had a couple signings this week, which was pretty fun. The first
Yeah,
one,
nice to
Eduardo
see.
Rodriguez, signed with the Tigers, and it was a 5-year deal, worth 77 million guaranteed, but it can reach 80 million based on certain incentives. What are you thinking? Underpay, overpay, great deal?
I think it's a bargain,
Yeah,
personally. I
yeah.
think he's I mean I think he was the youngest starting pitcher one of the youngest starting pitchers on the market, I believe.
I would assume so. I mean, he is.
Uh he's 28, but it just he had a better season than a lot of people thought,
Mhm.
or a lot of people think, because they look at his ERA and they think he wasn't all that great, but his FIP was so much lower than his ERA. So I think his defense kind of held him back a lot. And he's been a very solid pitcher for a long time, and to get him for that AAV, $15 million AAV is very solid for a guy who's, I mean, a number three, a very solid number three,
Yeah,
maybe even a two at his best.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of this deal. As a White Sox fan, obviously, kind of sucks, but
Mhm.
I mean, I credit to the Tigers for snagging a good signing like this.
Yeah. I think this signing was more of a notice to like to the fans and the teams. Like the Tigers are gonna go all in. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, their rotation straight up right now isn't even that terrible. And then you add in maybe they snag someone else who's like a little bit cheaper. And
yeah,
then obviously we're predicting like maybe Carlos Correa there or maybe someone else.
yeah.
You're looking at a little bit of a threat in the AL Central. Maybe not to win the division, but at least keep it close.
I think they could easily win in the 80s next
Mhm.
year, no doubt. Depending on what moves they make, obviously, because they have Eduardo Rodriguez, obviously. Then they have Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, Matt Manning. All of those guys, if two or three of them, or if one or two of them make a jump and become the guys that they could be, I mean that rotation could be really scary pretty fast. And if they sign another guy, maybe like a John Gray or something like that, I mean, watch out. Obviously, they have some work to do with their lineup. They have some young hitters coming up. Spencer Torkelson is going to be a monster when he comes up, along with Riley Green.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, if they come up next year, they may not tear it up quite right away, but
Mhm.
I mean, they could easily compete for a wild card next year. I mean, maybe even threatening the AL Central if they really overachieve enough.
Yeah.
I definitely can see it. It's a big if they get Correa though. I think obviously assuming that they're going to get is a huge thing, but I mean, I could definitely see it.
Yeah. I don't think it's crazy to assume that they're going to get at least someone very notable on the hitting side.
Mhm.
I don't see. I mean, I guess it's a 5-year deal, but I don't know if I see a huge reason to make this signing if you can't get if they know they don't have a shot at
Mhm.
one of the other guys or like the big hitters. So I'm expecting another big move from them, which is going to be exciting to see, and we'll maybe get into our predictions a little bit later.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, another signing, Justin Verlander declined the qualifying offer for 18 mil, then accepted a 1 year, or it's yeah, he has a player option after next year to
Mhm.
to sign again, but it's for 25 million a year. Kind of out of left field, to be honest.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that. It was his brother that kind of broke the news, which was kind of
Yeah.
funny on
I
Twitter. But
was I was extremely confused when I saw it, but yeah.
yeah, and I mean, Justin Verlander is a great pitcher. It's just the question is how is he going to return from that injury?
Mhm.
And if he goes back to what he was doing before, I mean, I think it's a good deal for him.
Yeah, I'm willing to bank on Justin Verlander being able to return that value on that.
Mhm.
Honestly, I know it's obviously risky signing a guy who hasn't pitched in 2 years,
Mhm.
and but I mean he's Justin Verlander at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
I don't see him dropping off. I know he had a bullpen session for a lot of teams about a week ago or something like that,
Mhm.
and he was hitting his old velocity around 96, 97. So I think JV is going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. If I mean, I thought he was going to go to some team like the Tigers, but I think the
Yeah.
Eduardo Rodriguez signing kind of just threw that one away.
Mhm.
Maybe not. Who knows? But was not expecting the Astros. For some reason, I just didn't think he was going to return. But
Mhm.
you never know. I mean, the Astros are still like they're losing Correa probably most likely. I would say like 95%. They're
Mhm.
still a fantastic team and like just um, they need to retain some of these guys, obviously, and Justin Verlander is a huge part of it. I mean, they could have used him this year, and I'm on the Verlander train. I'm expecting a big year out of him, at least big enough to where you can't say that that deal wasn't a good deal for them.
Yeah, and he was drawing some huge interest from a lot of teams.
Mhm.
Like apparently the White Sox were interested, the Braves were interested. There was a few teams out there that were really pushing for him. So I think a lot of the leaks though that came out for him were mostly his agents trying to drag the price up at the last second because I think he knew he was going back to the
I
Astros
think
all
even
along.
the Cubs were thrown in there. Not gonna lie. I think I saw
Yeah,
it.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think there was a lot of teams. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if 20 teams in baseball were
Oh
interested in
yeah,
Justin Verlander.
yeah.
The Yankees wanted him, the Blue Jays. There's plenty of teams.
Yeah, so he's going back to the Astros. Jose Barrios signed a big extension.
Yeah,
The Toronto Blue Jays, 7 years, 131 million.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the guy a lot. I think he's a really good pitcher. I've kind of been on him since he was young, basically because of my fantasy baseball league, the Dynasty League. I picked him
Uh,
up early.
yeah.
I think it's a slight overpay, and I see why they paid him that much, but I don't know.
See, watching Jose Barrios for a long time because he was obviously in division, and I watched him pitch a lot because he was on the Twins, obviously. So I don't know. I've always thought Jose Barrios is a very solid pitcher,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't feel great about him being my second starter, especially if you're trying to win a World Series personally. Like I think he's very solid, but I just think 7 years is a lot to pay for him. or as a lot to commit to him. At $18 million a year, it's not going to be bad for the first 3 or 4 years, I don't think.
Yeah.
But afterwards, later in the deal, I don't know if 18 is going to be
I
necessarily his.
yeah, I should have kind of clarified what I meant. I didn't mean it was a lot in terms of per year value, because I
Yeah,
would love to have him for 18 mil a year.
yeah.
Do you think he can do this for 7 years? Like he
I don't
can,
know. I see
but there's a
four.
chance that, it just doesn't work out at all. Maybe after year 3 or 4. Um, that's a huge overpay if he doesn't return value for most of those years, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. That's what scares me. I think I can see why they're doing it. I think that means that they might not be getting Ray back. I don't think it necessarily completely rules it out, but I think they just wanted some sort of security.
I would
But
say, uh, go on, actually. My bad.
I think he set the market for a guy like a Lucas Giolito or something like that for his possible extension. Also, I think a lot of those guys in that range are going to be looking to get that sort of money.
Yeah, I think personally this kind of rules out Robbie Ray.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously not for sure. They love him over there. You can just tell, but I do think this is more of a like a pointer towards maybe more confidence in them retaining Simeon,
okay.
just to lock him up and kind of because you can't get all three. And
No, no
if you
chance.
already signed a pitcher to this much, this long, I don't know how they sign Robbie and just let Simeon go. He's too valuable for me, and I think locking up him and a pitcher is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, I personally think they go other places and use the money in a different way. Maybe getting like another starter, maybe like a Carlos Rodon for a cheaper price or less years maybe.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't see Robbie coming back for sure. Marcus Simeon's an interesting case personally. I'm not necessarily too uh confident in them getting Marcus Simeon back. I think there's going to be too many teams interested that they won't be able to hang. But you never know. I think overall, I'm not mad at the signing or the extension of Brios, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily in love with it.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it's not a total like wow they messed up kind of thing.
Yeah,
But it's just something to look at. Can he keep up that production for that long? I hope he does because I like him. But another signing in the AL was Noah Syndergaard. That one really he went to the Angels obviously, 25
hmm
million, and that one really A surprised me
yeah,
and
same.
B excited me because to me
Okay.
to sign someone who's pitched what 2 innings in the last couple years,
Yep.
um, to 25 million on a 1 year deal, to me this is them. This is again pointing to them going pretty much all in. I think they get someone huge to follow that up. And it doesn't even have to be a pitcher. And we could talk about our predictions later, but this has brewed a little bit of thought for me in terms of I said in the past that I think Scherzer might go there, and I think they're going to make some sort of move in terms of a position player, maybe or a pitcher. If the Angels aren't signing anyone else, what's the point of
Yeah,
1 year Noah
exactly.
Syndergaard? It just
Yeah,
makes me think.
I think I kind of said something like that before because you brought up Max or something like that going to the Angels, and I said that they need more than just one guy
Mhm.
because like Shohei Ohtani and Noah Syndergaard aren't going to cut it alone.
Yeah,
They need at least one more solid pitcher. I don't think they need anything like crazy top of the line, but they definitely need another guy to fill in and a guy that's also going to be consistent with innings, I think, because Shohei has injury history along with him just being slowly he gets I don't want to say babied, but they don't like to push him too much,
yeah.
which is fine obviously because he's working double time basically.
Mhm.
So and Noah obviously has some injury risk there. So I think they need a guy that's typically healthy, I would say. I don't think they should go for another high risk, high reward guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Someone to kind of hold it down back there, because
Yeah.
if Shohei and Noah pan out in terms of not getting hurt,
Mm-hmm.
that's very, very decent
Great
of,
1-2 punch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It was interesting uh, thinking about the different predictions we had on the big shortstops. It
Mm-hmm.
seems, and this is extremely surprising, it seems the Yanks are kind of out of the talks with shortstops,
Supposedly.
supposedly, reportedly, and I've seen it from a couple different sources and a lot
Yeah.
of different people talking about it. If that's the case, I mean, I'm extremely shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Apparently, I mean, they have really good shortstops coming up, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems, I mean, the reports are saying that they're confident in them, and they may want to work on certain areas. And there are other areas of that team that need help.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the narrative of someone like a Corey Seager to the Yankees has been pushed so much that
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of hard to let go of.
Yeah, I know. We were we were two of those people that were
Yeah.
pushing, and I think I literally my exact words were like it feels like he's a Yankee already.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of weird. I'm surprised personally. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't blame them. I really don't.
No.
Like I especially for the price tag that's connected. Well, that's been rumored to be connected to him, and I probably believe it. I don't want him for that price. I
No.
don't. I just really don't. I think that they do better just trying to tread water a little bit. Maybe wait for a few prospects, and because I don't think their core is good enough right now. I really don't.
No. And then also they're in talks with like people like Matt Olson, maybe a potential trade.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and then they need another outfielder. Um,
Yeah,
is this a way of going for like trading for Olsen and maybe going for Starling Marte? Because that's a nice little two.
yeah,
That's a nice grab. Those
yeah.
two
That's
guys are very, very solid.
yeah. Those guys make more sense. I don't think committing 6 to 7 years to Corey Seager is really gonna make that big of a difference, and it's probably gonna end up not working out at the tail end anyways, and you're gonna be stuck with dead money,
He
and
also
that
does have a big injury history.
exactly. I don't think he's worth that much money. I mean, you see, he's they mentioned Anthony Rendon as a guy that he wants comparable money to, and look how that contract's
Yeah.
worked out so far. You don't really like that. I mean, and I mean he's coming off a better he was coming off a better season than Corey Seager is. So I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's a little interesting bit. We'll see if it's true. It's obviously all speculation.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he is a Boris client, I believe. So
yeah.
my guess is he gets something near that money.
Yeah, no, the report said that thinking like 250, and that's just if you want whatever team wants to do that, go right ahead, please. Um, just go. I don't know.
I
Moving
mean,
on.
I think we'll get it, but
I
for the
think
Yankees' sake, I don't think they should.
no, I agree. With the signings that have already occurred, and the possible lockout, and a lot of signs pointing towards some people signing before December 1st.
Hmm.
We've already had some decently big names get thrown around.
Yeah,
What are you thinking? Are there any big moves before then?
I think so. I
Mhm.
think there's at least a few big ones, really big ones. I don't think these players want to live with the insecurity of not knowing that they're going to be able to have their money while the potential work stoppage is occurring. So
Mhm.
I I think there's a few guys that are going to bite on it pretty quick, especially the older guys. I don't think they really feel like worrying about it.
Yeah.
Like I think a guy like Max Scherzer gets it done. I
Hmm.
think a guy like Clayton Kershaw potentially gets it done, and maybe even a guy like Marcus Simeon. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think I think those are the biggest guys, and I think those guys have made a decent amount of money in their careers. Maybe not Marcus Simeon as much, but I think that they're not going to sit there and wait until I mean maybe even February at this point to get their money. They just kind of want to sign their contract and then have the rest of the season to chill out and worry about the season.
Yeah. I do think it's almost guaranteed that we know where Corey Seager is going before that date. I
Okay.
really feel he's gonna sign with someone. And I kind of want to save my updated opinion ever since the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are still a very possible option, but I kind of have
Feels
another
unlikely.
opinion.
Yeah.
I think Seager definitely gets moved before then. I think, like you said, Scherzer. I feel like I feel like Clayton and Freddie just have to resign by then. just kind of get it over with in terms of like, especially Freddie. Like, I mean, I know it's a different. You got to negotiate.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it just because like he's obviously staying, hopefully. And I do think Corey Seager definitely gets moved, and I don't think we're gonna see Correa moved before then, which is
I
gonna
don't think so either.
it's gonna kind of suck because I really want to see where he goes, but maybe
I
someone
think
like Trevor Story gets moved. I don't know.
I think he pushes potentially Lindor money.
Oh, I think no. He
I
said
think
I think
he
the
got.
report said he
I
set a
think
benchmark.
I think 300, but at least 300. But Lindor got what, like 325 ish.
Yeah, something along there.
I think he pushes that and maybe even a little more. I
Yeah. No,
I think he could get 330, 340 potentially.
I think I read that in terms of negotiating, he kind of set the benchmark to there. He said that's what he got. I want to get either this or over it, which
Man, that's a big price tag, but I think he might be the one that's worth it, kind
I mean,
of.
if I were to take a bet on all and on any of them, I would pick him in terms
Yeah,
of sustained success.
I'd pay if I were spending over $200 million. I'd pay $70 million more for the Carlos Correa over
Mhm.
Corey Seager personally.
Yeah, for sure. I do think there's going to be some more notable moves that are going to happen. And here's a time to shamefully plug our TikTok at Pitch Catch Pod if you want to see our reactions to some of those future news
Yeah.
breaks that happen.
Some hot takes.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure to go over there and give us a follow. But yeah, we can just do a little segment on your team, the White Sox. Maybe
Okay.
people thought, they're targeting people like Conforto, Castellanos, maybe Simeon.
Hmm.
It's interesting because they have one of the better rotations in the league. They're kind of targeting starting pitchers apparently. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. There's been some little leaks out there. They were reportedly, for some reason. I mean, I'm not mad at it. They were reportedly going for Justin Verlander.
Hmm.
Bob Nightingale. I know he's known for being a bit of a bit wrong sometimes. I'll put it that way. But he is also known to be a mouthpiece for White Sox ownership a lot of the time. He's reportedly, I mean, he's repeatedly been correct on a lot of White Sox news, and he's known for having an inside source, I'll say. And he reported that the White Sox were in. Also, John Heyman did confirm that, so not not just him, but I think that they're reportedly going for something in a trade, possibly. They've been looking at some veteran starting pitching, which is interesting to me, honestly, because if you look at it, they said that Michael Kopech is slotting into the rotation, so you would think he's taking Rodon's spot essentially. And they still have Dallas Keuchel. They still have the big three and Cease, Lynn, and Giolito. So are they going? Are they looking to move Dallas Keuchel? Are they looking to move one of the top guys potentially in a trade or something like that? I don't see why they would, but you never know. Um, so they they're doing that, and sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but uh, it's interesting. Are they looking at a guy like Max Scherzer? I don't really see them being able to pay that much money, but that would be interesting. I'd obviously be up for that, but I think a trade is more likely with the Oakland A's or something like that for Frankie Montas or Chris Bassett or Sean Manaea. I think that's much more likely, dishing out some young players because the A's are definitely looking to offload players before they become free agents.
Yeah.
But I I don't know. I thought a lot of people have speculated that they could be waiting to trade Craig Kimbrell to free that budget up, but they targeted Verlander before Kimbrell got moved, so I think they could be aggressive early. I think a guy like, I mean, dare I say, Clayton Kershaw could be targeted. I'm not saying that he's gonna, like, I'm not saying that he's gonna come to the White Sox or anything like that, but I could definitely see them targeting a guy like that because if you look at the fit, it actually makes a lot of sense because for a guy like that, you're not asking him to make 30 starts a year. He's only going to make 20 to 25 probably, and just hopefully he's not hurt by the playoffs. But uh, if you look at that, and a guy like Michael Kopech, who's only going to give you like 120 innings most likely, a guy like mixing in those two guys who are going to give you the similar amount of innings, you could run a 6-man rotation for a lot of the year. That's barring Dallas Keuchel not being gone, obviously. But it would make a lot of sense because they could just kind of fill in for each other because they're probably both going to be skipping starts all year.
Yeah. No, do you think going for someone and it depends how much they pay them, do you kind of think it's more like they either get a pitcher or a batter, or do you think maybe they can even get someone like Conforto Castellanos with someone like, I don't know, Montas or Bassett? I mean,
That's what I'm thinking personally. I think uh they trade okay, so my top three positions that they're probably going for now that I know they're targeting starting pitching is second base, right field, and starting pitcher.
mhm.
So what I think they're going to do is they're going to trade Craig Kimbrell for a player that is going to start at either second base or right field. Maybe starting pitcher, but I don't see a starting pitcher for closer trade going on. I don't know. I don't really see that. I think they're going to trade for maybe someone not as good as a Sox fans would potentially want in there, but they would shed some budget most likely, and then that would free up space to either go get the right fielder that they didn't have yet or the starting pitcher that they didn't have yet. So I could see them getting like a Conforto and then trading for, I mean, maybe a Luis Castillo. That's kind of a stretch in my opinion, but maybe a Sandy Alcantara, a Pablo Lopez, something like that. I think that's perfectly viable. Maybe even Sonny Gray, but I think a lot of that makes sense because the three teams that are looking to shed some players potentially are the Marlins, the Reds, and the A's, and all of them have an abundance of starting pitching that they probably want to move before they hit the open market.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I'm interested to see what they do. I don't really know what kind of setup they're going for.
Yeah.
I do, however, have a little mock trade that I want to run
Okay.
past you that I kind of just came up with.
Okay.
Craig Kimbrell traded to the Padres
Okay.
and Will Myers being included in that deal.
Hmm. I'd have to see Will Myers' contract situation. I'm not completely sure.
If I do remember, he signed a pretty decent extension or a
Yeah,
pretty decent
that's what I
contract.
want to see just to make sure. Yeah, he signed a 6-year, $83 million contract. Let me see. Uh I don't know. He's making $20 million a year. That's tough.
Oh
If any,
wow,
yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I don't really like that. Honestly, if he was making more 10 to 15, then I'd be down for that.
is it
I could
20
see.
million if it was 6 years, 83?
Yeah. 2018 or 2017 through 2019 he was only making 2 to 3, and then for the next for the next 2 years he's making 20, and then in 2023 he has an option.
Hmm. Wow.
So that's a little
A
steep
big
for my
overpay
liking.
for him. That sucks.
Yeah, they'd have to. Yeah, the Padres would probably have to eat some of that money for it to make sense. I don't think the White Sox would do that just because of that. But I could definitely. I think an outfielder is definitely more likely. Um, I could definitely see them getting like an Adam Frazier in a trade just because his salary is not very high either. But that's a little. It's a little like, but at the same time, I don't mind it if we go out and get a Conforto, or if we go out and get like a decent starting pitcher. I wouldn't be mad at it whatsoever, but it's interesting. There's a lot of good options here. I think they're more flexible than people think. I think they're willing to open up the budget a little bit because they're actually up there in committed salary right now. I believe they're in the 160s right now. So they're definitely not being cheap as people would like to say. That's White Sox Twitter definitely over exaggerates a lot and expects the big fish every year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the White Sox are going to be one of the more interesting teams this offseason, like many others in the past few years. But I think they're going to be up there with the big fishes this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that happening. Do you think, real quick before we move on, do you think anything happens before December 1st?
Yes, I do.
Makes me
I
excited.
think I think one of the big positions gets filled. Whether that's, I think it's more likely outfield or starting pitcher. I
Mhm.
think Marcus Simeon is not as likely as I thought before, just because as soon as I heard about the starting pitching news, I think second base became less of a priority personally.
I'm
Because
kind of confused. Leori Garcia is not a free agent or anything.
he is,
He is?
yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. So there's no
Yeah.
chance you guys think you resign him maybe for
No,
cheap?
no, no. He definitely could be back. I think it's probably a 60% chance he's back.
Would you
But
like that to kind of get him at a cheaper price and be able to spend more money elsewhere? Because he was solid for you guys.
he, well, his role was meant to be a utility player, so I
Hmm.
think that's what he signed to be personally. He was never meant to be an everyday player for us. The injuries were just so unfortunate, and he just kind of got stuck there, and he was good enough to stick, I guess. I
Mm.
mean, Cesar Hernandez was supposed to be the starter there too, but he just kind of didn't really work out either. So I think I could definitely see us getting like potentially like maybe like a Mike Moustakas in a trade, or like an Eduardo Escobar or something like that, just
Mhm.
to kind of fill the need, but also get someone who's not bad. Could be solid. Mike Moustakas didn't do as great as he usually does last year, but I still have some faith in him coming back to the AL Central with the DH potential also. So I wouldn't be mad at that. Or yeah, I think we do something like that at second base, and then target a Castellanos or Conforto in right field, maybe even a Starling Marte, possibly. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't be very mad at it. I know we've liked him in the past, so we could do something like that, and then target a starting pitcher. I don't know how high they're shooting with the starting pitcher, but
Mhm.
I mean, who knows what's in the cards? No one really expected them to go be in on Verlander, so you never really know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's going to be very fun to see, especially for
Yeah.
you as a Sox fan. But
Yeah, and I have a question.
Mhm.
What teams do you think are the best fit for Craig Kimbrell, not thinking about packages returning?
Yeah, for sure. Teams that come to mind: Phillies, for sure. Padres, Mariners. Um, uh, maybe Cardinals, potentially.
He's sneaky because they had some good arms back there,
Mhm.
but they never really had a certain guy. You know, they just
Yeah.
a lot of
Um,
control issues
that's
besides
the main thing
Gallegos.
because they're actually like people like Alex Reyes, and
Built.
Jordan Hicks, like they're like pretty nasty. And Gallegos had a really good year. But
Yeah.
I
He's
kind of don't want
sneaky
him to
good.
be my closer.
No, he's really good in the seventh, eighth though. But I think a sneaky team for them would be the Braves for sure.
I do like that. Let me run this past you.
Okay.
Kenley Jansen doesn't go back to them. Kimbrel to the Dodgers.
Ooh. I
That
mean,
out of the
that's an upgrade.
possibilities.
I
I mean,
like it. I like it a lot. The
I don't
Dodgers
think
also
Kenley
have some
resigns.
options.
I don't think he
No,
goes back.
I think he gets paid more elsewhere. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, for sure. Is he on the list that we're going to talk about?
No, but
Um,
we can talk about him.
yeah, we can just add him in at the end, and then I'll say what I think. But yeah, no, Craig Kimbrel, I do think, I think we're all in agreement. He's 99%.
On. Yeah. Rick Hahn. Uh, he had his end of the year press conference, and he brought up Craig Kimbrell, or someone asked him a question or whatever, and he he's the White Sox are known for being very close to the vest and not liking to reveal anything. And when he even mentioned a trade, I was like, all right, he's gone. He
Yeah,
was like, oh yeah, we picked up his option. We're gonna review all of the possibilities and maybe even a potential trade. And I was like, all right, yeah, he's gone. Like, there's just no chance he's just gonna bring him up being traded and not dish him.
yeah. Maybe another team if they don't re-sign Rysel and Iglesias, the Angels.
Yeah,
It seems like they're going big.
yeah, and I would never doubt the Astros either.
I don't know. Yeah, no, for sure. They could definitely use someone like him. That would
Yeah.
be crazy. That would help them out a lot. But real quick, all the qualifying offers were sent out. Brandon Belt was the only one who accepted. I know I predicted him to go back to the Giants. I said that he kind of just needs to be a Giant, just in terms of how long he's been there.
Yeah,
I'm happy with it.
yeah,
Maybe
and
he
I
could have
don't.
gotten more somewhere else, but I don't think so. And I also do think he loves San Francisco, and I think he just belongs there.
Yeah, there is no chance he was getting anything close to $18 million AAV. So I don't blame him for taking that one bit. That's an easy decision. I don't and he was the only one who accepted it, and he was the only one that really made sense anyway. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, I thought Noah Syndergaard would accept it, but yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think, I mean, credit to the Angels, but
Yeah.
I didn't think many more teams would be offering that much, or
Yeah.
at least maybe he could have gotten an extension, or I don't know. My question is, how did the Mets let him go?
Man,
That's a
I don't
big.
know. It's the Mets. They didn't even really have a GM until the day he signed. So they could have missed the ball on that one because of that. Who knows? But
I don't know. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm excited to see him in an Angels uniform a lot.
same.
Um, we can move on. We just got a list of 21 free agents. Most of them are would be in the top 20 if you made a list. Maybe we're missing a few, but we're just gonna go over these guys real quick, kind of predict where they're gonna go. I know we kind of went in depth last podcast, but it was in depth, but it was also just kind of glossing over. Um, Now we see potential moves, and we've seen signings that have already happened, so that may impact some of our answers. First up, Max Scherzer. Personally, for me, Syndergaard signing means the Angels aren't getting Max Scherzer. They were
Yeah.
my previous prediction. Um, I have no idea what to do now. I think he goes back to the Dodgers now.
You kind of, yeah, I agree. I was gonna say the Dodgers exactly too. I think it's a pretty big no-brainer. They're obviously pushing for it. They're not scared to spend money, and they're just gonna top anyone else's offer, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Marcus Simeon. Ooh, I don't know.
I know what
First
you
of
want to
all,
say.
before we do this, so on camera, do you want to do whoever gets the most right gets $20?
Sure, on camera, like I'm gonna.
No, I know. I know.
Sure,
Don't
yeah,
worry,
yeah.
Joe doesn't cheat me out of anything
That's
besides
why I'm typing it in the chat. So yeah, I got you.
besides fantasy football. But Marcus Simeon, I could go off the wall and say, Mariners, Giants, White Sox. Something tells me he's coming home, so I'm going Blue Jays.
Yeah, I knew you wanted to say it.
Yeah,
That's fair. So you're going Blue Jays, okay?
yeah. I just think, like I said before, the Barrios signing, they need if they lock Simeon up, I mean, they it's a big guy to miss out on, and they have money, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I like the move there, and I think they realize maybe Robbie Ray might not be worth the money. Great season, but regression is bound to happen.
Yeah, and
Um,
the
if I'm not mistaken, real quick, I think Robbie Ray had something like a 90% left on base percentage,
I
which,
don't know. I
yeah,
haven't
it
even.
was 90%. Uh,
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Going back to 2020, 73%, 75 the year before, 90%. Like,
Yeah, I'm thinking the regression's probably around like a 3.8 FIP, 3.5, 3.6 ERA, which is not bad at all. But he's gonna get paid ace money, and
yeah.
I think he regresses to about a 2-3 starter, which is not bad at all. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, maybe
I don't
next
know.
year he can push for a one on some teams. And
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna get paid like a one, and he'll probably be treated like one. But I for the most of that deal, I don't think he'll be a one.
yeah, I just don't think the Blue Jays
Typical.
spend that much. But yeah, where do you think Simeon's going?
This one's tough. I'm I'm kind of on the fence here, but I'm gonna go San Francisco Giants. I think.
I like it.
Yeah,
I would love to see him.
I think that the money that Chris Bryant would potentially get paid. He's not on this list by the way. I'm gonna add him, but I think the money that Chris Bryant would get paid. I think that they're just gonna use that money on Simeon, spend a little extra.
Yeah.
Get get a better player.
Yeah. No, I mean, seems like a really good fit, to be honest. Can't really complain. Do you think, he's been their heart and soul, or at least part of their heart and soul, but he's getting a little up there in age, and that's Brandon Crawford, and he's still a good defender. Do you think there's any chance they sign a shortstop and possibly move Crawford to second or third?
No,
You don't think so?
no, that's just I don't know. I mean, they probably should, but they won't. That's just they're too loyal. They're too loyal of an organization. That's why I think like they didn't even have to offer Brandon Belt that QO.
Yeah. No, that was surprising. Good for him for getting that money, but
It's
I don't
kind of
think.
like I hate to say it because my team did the same thing, but the first baseman market's not nearly what it used to be
Mm-mm.
typically, like as far as them getting paid and especially them being older.
Yeah.
Uh Sometimes that guy that they consider them to have more value than other teams would consider
Hmm.
them to have. You know what I mean? With the
Yeah.
leadership role and just the value overall.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had Simeon to the Blue Jays, you had Simeon to the Giants. Michael Conforto. Um
I know I'm going with 30, but you can.
I think I know who you're going with too, and no, I don't want to go with them actually. Let me
Okay.
think here. Marlins.
I don't really like this pick personally. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you don't have to.
No,
That's
yeah, that's completely fair. I
no.
mean, it's your opinion. I just don't think the Marlins are gonna spend on an outfielder.
I
I
would
don't.
have picked White Sox if I had a gun to my head, but
Yeah, it's he has a weird market. Like I don't really see what teams are gonna be that interested in for 90 million. That's another thing. I It's not my money to complain about, but at the same time, I don't want to pay him over $100 million.
no, like my thought process is there's been rumors about maybe a Marte, maybe a Castellanos. Who
Hmm.
says they miss out on those guys and kind of okay, we need to get someone out here. Who says they don't pull the trigger on Conforto?
Who, the Marlins?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess, but I just don't see the Marlins spending as big. I think they're gonna go with the cheaper option like Marte, as far as like less years committed, especially. But I don't know. I think Castellanos makes a lot of sense for them too,
Yeah.
being a Florida boy, I believe.
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You going
You're
White
going with
Sox?
the Marlins. Yeah, I'm going with the White Sox. I think it's kind of a slam dunk pick, especially with the market not being as big. I think the Padres are a sleeper team for him, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could definitely be aggressive with him,
Yeah.
because they're I don't want to say they're desperate, but I feel like they need to win this year. They're gonna be a little like maybe we need to make some big changes as far as roster construction and maybe dish out some guys. Not necessarily rebuild or anything, but re reconstruct the way that they have everything formed right now.
Yeah. Clayton Kershaw should be quick, in my opinion. I think Dodgers, and I'm assuming you think the same.
I don't know. I really don't.
Really?
I'm thinking. I don't know.
Don't
I
say
don't
the
think it's as,
team. You don't speak it into existence.
I'm not gonna say the White Sox. I'm
No,
not.
no, no. The other team that we really don't want to see him on. The
I
Rangers.
don't. Oh,
Just
I
wasted
I
away.
hmm. I think it could be the Rangers, or I think a sleeper team is maybe the Cardinals.
I would hate him in the NL Central.
I'm sure you would. I mean, I think any team would hate facing him, but man, it's tough. Like, I just don't know if the Dodgers are really going to be pushing for him as much as they might, as much as people think, because
It's him.
since they have, I know. Trust me, I love to see him stay. I just in my head, I think that they don't really want to deal with the short amount of starts, especially with the amount of pitching depth that they have. I
Yeah,
think they have other guys that they can rely on.
that's fair
Man,
enough.
I think I'm gonna go with the Dodgers though. I was trying to think about it, but it's just tough. I really couldn't see another team that he would rather go to.
Yeah.
This one's an interesting one.
Yeah, Castellanos. The Marlins are a very popular pick for this. I I don't think he goes there. Um,
I don't think so either. I have the team in my head, but
yeah, you can go first. Well, I think.
okay. I am going to go with the. It's weird to say.
Oh, I say
I
it.
think I'm gonna go New York Mets.
Okay, good. I thought it was gonna be the same one as me, but it wasn't.
I was thinking the other team in the town, but I'm now thinking about it. I don't think that makes enough sense.
Hmm.
But I think the Mets make a lot of sense replacing Conforto, and they're definitely still trying to compete. And I think they're willing to spend for the upgrade because they're in it to win it.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
you have your team.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I could definitely see it. This team has great pitching, but not that great of bats. The Milwaukee Brewers making a
Okay.
slight push for a big hitter like that. Maybe even put him at DH. Who
You
knows?
think you think they're willing to spend it?
They have to realize that their pitching is amazing,
Yeah.
right? And that they're a
Oh yeah, no
couple
doubt.
bats away from like serious contenders. Although I do think, not saying it's gonna happen, but I do think there's a slight chance something happens and maybe the second half of next year, or maybe even before. I don't think Josh Hader's staying with that team for a full year.
It depends. It really depends. If they spend this offseason, I don't think that comes true. But
Mhm.
I think if if they don't and they kind of go with their stopgap typical guys, I think for sure if they get a guy like Jock Peterson or Jorge Soler instead or Adam Duvall or whatever, I think that's definitely a possibility. But if they get Castellanos, there's no way.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's kind of like a sleeper, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Freeman, yeah, just right Braves.
yeah.
I
We don't
seriously,
even need to talk about it.
yeah, can't envision him anywhere else. Get that bag, boo.
Yeah,
Carlos Correa.
polarizing.
I have to, right?
Do you?
AJ Hinch just seems so. It's a match made
Do
in
you
heaven.
have to?
It's I got to go Tigers. I gotta go
Yeah,
Tigers.
me too.
Yeah.
It's tough. There's just who's spending $300 million.
Yeah.
Like it narrows the teams down so much because a lot of the teams who are willing to spend that money already have their franchise shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres have their guy. The Dodgers have their guy. I was gonna say the Yankees, but they don't. But no, not the Yankees. I mean, the only team I could see a team like I don't know. I was gonna say the Angels, but they've spent so much, it's kind of tough. But I mean, if they're really trying to go for it, I guess. But it just makes too much sense.
Yeah, for sure. Corey Seager. This is interesting now. Just because of the whole Yank situation.
Yeah.
Um, this is hot. This is very hot.
Is it?
He is going to go. Mark my words.
You might take my team. Keep going.
Los Angeles Angels.
Okay.
I think
It's not my team.
I think here's what I think there's a decent chance he goes back to the Dodgers or something like that, or maybe the Marlins, or maybe some other team, maybe the Rangers. Rangers are a good pick, but I think they go Syndergaard, and then big splash in the position in the shortstop field. They really need a shortstop, and then they get someone like we said before, John Gray, someone Danny Duffy, just to kind of edge out that rotation. And I think they're pretty well set up.
Yeah. Okay. I have my team, and it's the Philadelphia Phillies.
Ooh, yeah, no, I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think they're also one of those teams that feel like they should be winning, and they have to make something happen at this point. They can trade for Craig Kimbrell, get Corey Seager. I feel like that's a really freaking good offseason.
Yeah.
They already got their 1-2 punch in the rotation. Obviously, they can use some upgrades in the back end, but that can be done with cheaper moves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they go ahead and do those two things, I feel like they could easily be fighting for that NL East.
And at least it's going to be something for sure.
Yeah,
especially
if that happens.
I think a lot of divisions, or I would say a couple, maybe are going on the opposite end. But I feel like baseball right now is kind of moving in a way where like the divisions are more balanced, which I like. It's not like the NBA. You know, we look at obviously the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres are contenders. The NL Central, let's not get into that. I don't want to boast. No, but yeah, I mean the Cardinals and the Brewers, and hopefully the Cubs, but no, them too. But then NL East, every team could potentially fight besides the Nationals, maybe depending on what the Marlins do. And I mean, the AL, like the Tigers are coming up. The AL East is just a madhouse, and then now the Angels might be in contention with the Marlins and the Astros. I mean, I think we're gonna see some random teams make crazy moves, which I'm excited for.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I got some more hot takes cooking up, I think. Looking down on the list a little bit, looking ahead.
Javi Baez, I personally think the Mets just bite the bullet and sign him to a lot more money than he should be getting.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I think the Mets is a slam dunk pick there, especially because I don't think his market's going to be crazy big. Because he's a very polarizing player with his questionable play discipline and among other things. But yeah, I think the Mets just makes too much sense. He did well there. He has a chemistry with Lindor, and I know he had that thing with the fans going on, but I don't really read too much into that.
No, I think it's just the Mets are kind of like, we just have to do it. We already traded for him.
Yeah.
And all the other factors, I think they do it. Trevor Story, there's been a couple teams talked about. I know you brought up the Cubs. You said Corey Seager to the Phillies. I think Trevor Story to the Phillies. I think
Makes a lot of sense.
I think they go a little cheaper and maybe work in other areas. 'Cause like we said before, that Seager contract is gonna be fat. So
Oh
we'll see.
yeah, no doubt.
I think Story fits there pretty well and also gives them a little bit more cash to do something else.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I wouldn't be mad at it. Man, I want to stick with my pick, the Cubs,
I
but
would love
now thinking about it, I'm going to Texas Rangers.
that. I feel like the Rangers are going to get someone. They're going to get one of the shortstops. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think Trevor Story makes a lot of sense. He's a Texas boy. I
Yeah,
don't know. I said
he's,
Texas
he's a
boy, but you know
Texan
what I
boy.
mean. He makes a lot of sense there. He didn't have the best year. I think it's only going to be a 1 year deal, by the way.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Maybe move him at the
Yeah,
deadline, or actually they would
yeah,
if they sign him to a 1 year deal.
yeah. One for 18 to 20 million. Prove himself a little bit. Uh, I think that just makes a lot of sense because I think he can definitely get a huge long term deal next year if he just has another great year like he's had in years past before last year. So I think that's the perfect spot for him,
Yeah, no, that's a good pick there.
especially in a less crowded shortstop class.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Robert Ray. Um,
I got my pick here.
I
You want me
kind
to
of
go
want to go.
first?
I kind of want to go off the wall. Um, there's the teams that have been interested in him. I think he sneaks his way into the NL Central and goes to the Cardinals, and I'm scared.
I I guess. I just don't know if he's their fit. I don't know.
I mean, they're already running Wainwright out there. I mean,
What do you mean by running lane right out there?
I don't know what I mean by that, but
Yeah,
just
I was like, they're not really similar at all, but I guess.
I just feel like Robert Ray's not old, but he just seems.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. I just don't. I think they go for a different type of. I think they go for a less flashy move.
I could see him in those tight white pants with a red hat on.
What are you saying right now? But
I'm hoping I'm wrong because I would hate to see him in the Central, but I was
bro.
thinking. I mean, you go first, and I'll tell you what other teams I kind of had.
All right. I have the Anaheim Angels
Yeah.
because I didn't predict
Hmm.
Corey Seager going there, so I predict that money being spent on Robbie Ray, and I think they're really gonna go for it.
Yeah. No, that's.
That three-headed monsters, something.
Do you think that's worth it, or do you think going? Would you rather take? I mean, not saying would you rather take Robbie Ray or Corey Seager? Would you rather them get another pitcher or shore up the bats?
Another pitcher.
Yeah.
I think they can live with what they have right now, for
Yeah, I
sure.
can see that. Maybe
I
even
think,
get like someone random, like just hitters who cost less.
yeah, exactly. They definitely can find some guys that can fill in the holes with they got some big boppers there now. And if they fill in the gaps, I think they got a solid lineup as is. So I'm not I think another potential top three starter would just be amazing for them.
Hmm. No, I would love that. I was thinking the Mariners as maybe a sleeper, but I do
Okay.
think they're gonna go for a position player
Mhm.
probably. So I mean,
Yeah.
Raisel Iglesias. I I don't I'm looking at the other names because I kind of don't want to double up, even though I might think like one of these guys are going there.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Padres. I think the Padres snag him.
Okay.
I
I
was
like
thinking
that.
Phillies. I was thinking Rangers. I was thinking a resign. I think the Padres just sure up that. I mean, Melanson is Melanson a free agent? I can't
Yes,
remember.
sir.
Yeah, I Rysel had a great year. I see them getting a big closer this year. So I mean, I'll just make him my pick.
Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, I think if he is, I was about to say it.
You don't want to double up on the players. That was because I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
think he's a
what's nice.
Philadelphia Philly.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense in my head.
it does.
Man, I don't like it, but I think it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
between them and the Angels for me, but I don't want to double up again. I
Hmm.
think the Angels can potentially just get someone a little worse.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Kirby Yates or something like that.
Hmm.
just because they want to shore up the starting pitching and they'd rather spend that money otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Gosman. Uh, I hate myself for this. There's so many teams in mind for each of these players. Look, man, they're out of a shortstop now. They said they're out of maybe getting a shortstop. Tell me he does not look like a New York Yankee. He looks just like a Yankee to me. I could see him in those pinstripes.
Uh, I
I'm
don't like it.
I'm going New York. I don't like the thought of it, but I like
I just don't. I don't know. I don't think they get him personally. I think he goes to the Seattle Mariners.
so that was one of my other picks. Right now you're frozen. Can't.
You're frozen.
Well, that sucks. Well, my internet's kind of going. All right, we're good now. Yeah,
Oh,
no, the Mariners were a great pick. I do like that.
yeah, I think they're gonna get someone, and I think he makes a lot of sense for them.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, it fits them well.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where he goes. I don't think there's a chance there's a chance, but I don't think he goes back to the Giants.
I think they're gonna be in the running for him, and I think they finish just short.
Mm-hmm. Carlos Rodon, I, I don't know what to do here.
I got my team.
We've talked about this so much too, but I
Yeah.
feel like none of them are going to come true. Um,
It's between two for me actually.
I love the Red Sox move. I do, but it's so bland. I'll go Red Sox. I mean, I just think it's bound to happen. I love that move.
Oh man, this sucks. This really sucks because I like the Red Sox move a lot, but tell me he doesn't slot in for Robbie Ray just so much better.
I would love that. Yeah, no, that's interesting.
I'm going Blue Jays.
Yeah,
I think it just makes a lot of sense. I really do.
no, it does absolutely. I would love to see him there. I mean, if they get him, they got Barrios, they got Rodon, they got Ryu,
Ryu,
they have
yeah.
Manoa, and then maybe someone like Nate
Nate
Pearson
Pearson,
actually
yeah.
like coming into form.
Or just sign a fifth guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're disgusting. Yeah, no.
That's a great that would be a great signing for them. And he probably won't get a long term commitment, nothing more than 2-3 years most
Yeah,
because of the risk. So wouldn't be bad.
yeah, no, for sure. Starling Marte is next on the list.
I got my team, I think.
Um, where do I think he's gonna go? I don't think he goes back to Miami.
I don't think so either. Should I go with mine?
Yeah, yeah, you can go first.
I got him going back, or not going back, going to the Yankees.
Ooh,
I think that's where he goes. I think they need a little more contact in their lineup, and he suits them well.
yeah, no,
And they
he does.
want another outfielder, so
Yeah, no, he definitely gives them. You they're a big hit or miss team. I think given especially someone on the bases too.
Mhm.
Um, I don't. Did he get caught stealing last year, or was he like caught once or twice? Like it was
I don't
crazy.
think he got caught with the A's. It was something like that.
Yeah, what he did was ridiculous over there.
Yeah, he played very well there. I'm a big Starling Marte fan. I think he provides a lot to a team, and he's been an underrated player for a while. Due to his age, being 33, I think he's gonna get a lot less money than the bigger guys when he can contribute probably just as much. And we were wrong in the caught stealing thing. He got caught 5 times, but he stole 47 bags. So
Yeah, it's
I
nuts.
mean, stolen bases don't matter as much, but it's still nice to have.
Yeah, no, I think it's I honestly think it's an underrated part of baseball. I mean,
Yeah. At least having the potential to steal a bag is always nice, especially in the playoffs.
yeah, absolutely. I got him going to New York, but the other team. I think
Ooh,
it's the Mets. I like that fit. They
yeah, I
lose
like that too.
Conforto. I think Marte fits in well over there. And I as much as the Mets fumble the bag, I do think they're going super big this year, just
No,
because
yeah,
with everything going on. I
yeah,
mean,
and they didn't disappoint last year by any means, and
no,
they almost got Bauer.
yeah,
So like they've shown that they're willing to open up the checkbook if they have to, and I don't think that's changing now, especially with the disappointing season, obviously,
yeah,
as we had in our hot takes podcast. But
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see where he goes because I think he's a really solid player. Maybe underrated at a point just because of how valuable.
Here. I agree.
Yeah,
He's very good in the outfield. He does everything right, and he's shown that he can flash some power too. So I'm
yeah.
a fan.
Anthony Rizzo obviously has a chance to re-sign with the Yankees. People are saying Red Sox. I like him to the Padres. Um, I'm not the biggest Eric Hosmer fan.
I'm not an Eric Hosmer fan, not as a person obviously, but I don't like his
I
game.
I did like him on the Royals during that World Series run.
Okay.
He has not been worth it at all for the Padres. And I'm especially with the DH coming, maybe Rizzo moves to the DH as he's getting up there in age. I think replacing Hosmer or moving Hosmer to DH, doing something. I
Mhm.
think the Padres and Rizzo are actually a decent fit.
Yeah, I think so too. Uh, I I don't necessarily think he's going there, but I can definitely see where your head's at there
I'm
for
thinking like
sure.
1 year, like 13 million.
Okay. I think he goes to where do I think he goes to? No, I'm not feeling the Cubs here. I think he goes to the Red Sox.
Yeah, fair pick.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for them.
It might be the pick that makes sense the most.
Yeah, I think so too. They were very rumored for him at the deadline, and a lot of Red Sox fans were disappointed that they didn't get him. But
Mhm.
I think it's a slam dunk signing right there for them.
Yeah, I would love to see him in a Red Sox uniform for sure.
Mhm.
Kyle Schwarbs, I don't see him anywhere else besides the Red Sox. I mean, I see
I
the
agree.
argument. I think he just resigns. I love the
Yeah,
Red Sox
too.
with him.
It makes too much sense for both sides, and I
Yeah.
don't see anything otherwise.
Chris Taylor, let's get a little freaky here. Um, I wanted to say it. I wanted to say it. I'll save it for someone else.
I
Um,
got mine.
Chris Taylor, Mariners.
Okay, I like that actually. I like that.
Gives them a little bit of options in terms of where he's going to play. They're looking for people like Simeon, maybe a corner infielder. So that opens. I mean, they need someone to have someone like him is extremely valuable, and
Yeah,
I think they make a decent amount of sense.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Uh, and I don't mind that signing at all, but I think Chris Taylor goes to. Huh, I'm between two right now. I'm between the San Diego Padres
Mm.
and the Detroit Tigers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting.
I like both fits. I think the Padres would not mind snagging him at all. I
No.
think he has so much flexibility. You can play him anywhere, and since they were targeting an outfielder potentially, I think he can obviously play all through the outfield, and he could play a little second base if something happens with Cronenworth or
Yeah.
something like that, or Kim. So I don't mind that, but I think the Tigers are going to look to make some splash moves, and he can play everywhere, and they have some holes. So I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Tigers.
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, those are some big moves that they get Correa and Chris Taylor. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nelson Cruz. Um, I I like him. I like him on the Blue Jays. I like him sliding into that DH role on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I like it.
Especially with someone like Encarnacion who's been on the Blue Jays, who's I mean, I feel like Nelson Cruz and Encarnacion maybe in terms of like body are kind of similar. I just you need that big DH, and I just see him in that blue uniform just hitting bombs.
Yeah, I have him going to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, fair enough.
It, yeah, I think the DH will be there, so I'm willing to say that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I. That's why I said Castellanos earlier. I think they just get a big bat somehow. They need it really
I
bad.
think he's not going to be as expensive, so I
Yeah,
think they'll be willing to dish it out.
yeah. All right, Marcus Stroman is next on the list.
One of your personal favorites.
I would love to have him, and I think it might happen. I've been saving this team. I'm willing to bet Marcus Stroman comes to the north side.
Okay,
Chicago Cubs. I would love that signing.
okay, I'm cool with that. I think I'm going to go with the boring pick and say he goes to the Mets, but I want to hear more about the Cubs.
I feel like there's a certain like we're gonna get a pitcher, and I do think it's gonna be one of those. I hate calling him mid tier because he's not mid tier. He's like above average.
Yeah,
When you have people like Scherzer and Rodon and Clayton,
mid tier relative to the class.
exactly. Like I do think someone like a Stroman or a DeSclafani are really good fits in terms of
Mhm.
what kind of role they can solidify in the rotation with Hendricks along with Miley and then Steele and Alzolay, depending on like how they like Alzolay is a lock for the rotation. I'm
Mhm.
not sure what they plan on doing with Steele. I would assume it's rotation. And then
Maybe he can steal a spot.
no. But yeah, we're losing Zach Davies as well. I would hope. I hope they don't resign him.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean,
we need
I,
a pitcher, and I think the bigger I don't know how much money he wants to command, which it's probably going to be like a what like 5 year 125 around that
yeah,
range.
that's my thing with him, man. I think he gets overpaid. I really do, and that's what like. I mean, obviously you would like to have him on your team. Like that's not the problem. It's just at what cost. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really your money to complain about, I guess. So it's not it's not a bad signing whatsoever overall.
I mean, I I think the Cubs sign a pitcher and a position player, and I don't think either is going to be like a big splash like you said. I do like a combination of possibly Chris Taylor and Stroman, Chris Taylor, DeSclafani, along those lines. Like that's kind of what I would think they're going for.
Mhm.
But yeah, like if you take the free agent class of pitchers, I think they get someone around the middle. Um, and I think Stroman's a good fit.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for both sides personally.
Yeah,
I think he's also a guy that pitches well into his 30s.
yeah. No, he's shown a lot of durability, and he's someone that I would, depending on how much you pay him, I would be willing to maybe make that contract a little longer, just because.
Okay. What do you think, like 6 years?
I mean, if you were to tell me what would I prefer, I would prefer four,
Okay.
5. If if he were to make it, like if we got him for 6 years, like 135,
Mm, yeah, I guess.
I'm not mad with that.
I'm under the impression I'd only do 4 years max for him, honestly.
Okay. At how much do you think per year?
What I would want to pay or what do I think he gets paid?
No, what would you? What's your max?
I'm thinking,
Syndergaard got 25. I mean, I know it's only 1 year, but
I mean, man, I'm not as I would do like 4 for 90, honestly. I would not be willing to pay anything more than that for personally, maybe 95 max.
I don't think that's bad, honestly. I think he's within the 22 to 25.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay him 25 a year. It just can't. I can't stomach it.
I can definitely see that.
He's just not top of the line enough, in my opinion. Like that's not any knock on him or anything like that. I think he's very solid. I think he's gonna do what he's expected of. I just can't pay $25 million for a third starter.
I see the argument. I just, like I said before, I don't know what the hell Jed means when he says we're spending big. Maybe that includes an overpay. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, an overpay is still pay. Like you're still getting something, you know.
But yeah,
That's what you got to do to entice a guy to come to a team who necessarily isn't ready to compete to the max right away, you know.
absolutely. Um, Kenley Jansen is next on our list. I think he doesn't go back to the Dodgers, and I think this is a pretty popular pick, but I do see it, and I think he joins the Texas Rangers.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I'm not sure for how much, or I just I don't know. I don't see him back on the Dodgers.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think he re-signs with the Dodgers for 1 year.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a one last hoorah. Try to win another one. See what happens. I think if obviously if they get a closer, if they trade for Craig Kimbrell or something like that, that goes out the window a little bit. But
Mhm.
I think that they're willing to give him like 1 year, $10 million or something like that. Nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, no, that's fair for sure. Chris Bryant to end it off. Um, obviously we're missing a lot of people. We just wanted to make a list of some guys we wanted to talk about. Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant. If I could have my one wish, it would be to have my baby come home. I don't think that happens, and nobody should think that. I don't think he goes back to the Giants.
This one's
I,
a
I, I
situation.
what would you say?
It's a weird situation for this one.
Yeah,
He's a low market.
I like I like the Mariners getting a lot of different people, so it makes me tough to pick the Mariners. I'm trying to think, what would I want, man?
What do you want, or what do you think's gonna happen?
That's what I mean. What do I think is gonna happen?
I think I got my team.
All right, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't know if you're gonna like this one.
Don't say the Cardinals.
It's the Cardinals.
I would actually like be so sad.
Yeah, I know, but
That's
I
worst
see
case.
it. It makes sense.
That is worst case scenario. Worst, absolute worst case scenario. Um,
Actually, can I change my pick?
yeah.
Mariners.
Okay.
That makes more sense in my head. The Cardinals, thinking about it, I don't think that's necessarily their main priority.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Were you putting him in the outfield?
Who, Chris Bryant?
Yeah.
Mix all around. They're losing Kyle Seager most likely, so I could definitely see
I'm
him.
talking about for the Cardinals. Like, what made you think?
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I kind of thought about it, and I don't really see them having necessarily like a consistent place for him. So that's why I thought the Mariners made more sense. I was just looking at it, and I kind of just pictured him in the uniform. I'm not gonna lie. that
Yeah,
that it
no,
really.
I think that's very possible.
I could definitely. They'd probably be willing to move some pieces around for him. So that's the only
It
reason.
should
But
be, yeah. It's Chris Bryant, duh. Um,
only your favorite player ever. Yeah,
call me crazy.
you're crazy.
They almost reunited a few years back when there were big free agent talks before this guy got a mega deal.
What are you getting at here?
I think him and Bryce Harper link up.
Okay.
And I think, let's say if the Phillies don't get Story, Seager, I think Chris Bryant's a very viable option.
So, so you're predicting them to get Chris Bryant and Trevor Story.
No,
So
but
you're predicting them to get one of them, so you're taking the 50-50.
I'm very confident that one of them.
So you're taking the 50-50. You're willing to accept the 1 out of 2 there is what you're saying.
I don't know if I am now. Looking at it.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
That's a puny move in my opinion.
No, because I wanted to take the Mariners, but I wanted to try to switch it up. And I don't want to cancel you out. That's no
Can't look at
fun.
my picks.
What?
Just pick on your opinion. Don't even look at my picks.
I don't want to wash you. That makes the game not fun.
We have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 out of 22 washes.
Well, do I not have someone else going to the Mariners?
No.
I have Chris Taylor.
I have Gosman, and that's it. So it just made sense for me to pick the Mariners to get a position player.
Is Padres a crazy, just as a side note, is
No,
Padres a
no.
crazy possibility?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I mean, they just seem to acquire an abundance of veteran talent. I mean, not saying it works out, but they seem to have the inkling to. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres getting anyone.
I'm sticking with my gun. I'm gonna keep the Phillies. I don't want to be beating myself up.
I mean,
That's
I guess.
just, I mean, they talked to each other when Bryce was in free agency. They had a lot of dialogue. They're obviously really good friends. I would be down to see that. I mean,
Mhm.
I would love him and Harper on the same team. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, maybe next podcast we have some relievers.
yeah, we'll definitely go more into that side next. But yeah, those are just some of
Rumors start to come out. It'll
yeah,
be
yeah, absolutely. So those are some of our predictions on just some of these free agents. It's been a little long, so we're gonna probably end it here.
yeah.
Follow us on all socials at Pitch Catch Pod, especially the Ticker Talk. If If you want to interact with us a little closely,
Catching some good steam up there right now.
or hop on the train before it.
Lots of controversy going on in our comment section. Better tap in.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure to follow us there. If you're still listening, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed and have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're listening. Peace.